Hey,
to
let's check
escape
these
prisons ever since their inception. In most cases,
weird
prison
prison
breaks fail,
escapes
but
caught on
this isn't
camera, bro.
always the case. Escapes don't only happen in the movies, as they
Okay.
actually happen much more often than you'd like to think in the real world. It's human nature to seek freedom, and it's going to be very
Y'all heard about them Palestinians maybe about a year ago that escaped prison, and they did it with
clear the length some
spoons and
people
stuff.
will take to relish that
Oh, that was
sweet
real
taste
life,
of fresh air. Luckily for
prison-
us, most
prison break,
fail,
bro.
but those
I
very
don't know if you heard
few
about it, but
truly
yeah.
committed criminals who are willing to risk it for the biscuit sometimes succeed spectacularly. Ready to meet the guys that escaped and lived to tell the tale? Let's get it on. Under the radar. Sometimes you just have to wing it. No pre-planning, thought process, or careful consideration. If you see an opening, you take it. Two inmates were on garage duty outside the high fences of the prison. All it took was a fleeting glance towards each other, a little nod, and they were off. They bolted out of the prison grounds as fast as they could, leaving the supervisor.
Come on, man. I thought like look at the police officer, bro. He's just like, oh, okay, here we go again. you know, you know what I mean? He's just like, okay, let me call the other police officers to catch him from the other side.
Guard staring
This one
after
is
them
pretty
in
stupid,
disbelief as he called in the escape
Yeah,
on
look,
his
bro, he's not
radio.
even
Once
trying.
the
He's
coast
just
was
calling
clear,
out-
the pair
calling
split up to
other
go their
officers.
separate ways, every man for himself. They were apprehended a few days later in a nearby barn and apartment
Oh,
complex.
so they
How these
succeeded
guys
for a couple
flew
of
under
days.
the radar and convinced the guards to let them outside without restraints is anyone's guess. Over the fence. Some criminals would move heaven and earth in order to be free from the prison walls. Others would just simply move part of the wall. These two inmates removed a couple of cinder blocks and squeezed through the openings before throwing a blanket over a 25-foot high razor wire fence and fleeing into the woods. The holes in the wall were
Damn.
covered by posters, and they even made dummies out of pillows and blankets in their beds to buy them valuable time. After all that work, they were caught when a local resident saw tracks in the mud at a nearby creek and alerted the authorities. If you're thinking of breaking out of jail, it'd probably be best if you didn't follow in the footsteps of these crooks.
Yo, I don't think anybody
threw a
escaped out of
blanket
prison
over the
successfully,
razor
right?
wire before
Like,
running
other
across the
other
roof
than
to a
that conspiracy
temporary
group
freedom.
from the
Think
Alcatraz
fast, act fast.
that is unknown
When at first you
that
don't
they
succeed,
lived or died,
try
I don't
and
think
try
there's
again.
that
After a few
any
failed attempts
inmates
over the
escape
course
prison,
of the
right?
day, this jailbird decided to bide his
Successfully.
time and wait for his moment.
I
When one
think
presented
all of them,
itself,
even when
he
they
had to think
escape, they
fast
eventually get like caught again.
and act
So, I don't know.
fast. As the police moved away from the patrol car to process his transfer, this guy saw an opening as the garage door was closing. He sprinted out of the tiny opening with the best display of speed limbo you've ever seen in your life. As the roller door closed behind him, it took the cops valuable minutes to get outside, and by this stage, he was long gone. He covered so much ground that not even a 2-hour sniffer dog search could find him. He was arrested the next day, and you could say his luck had run out. Pun very much intended.
What's you do is try to escape cops in the USA, bro.
Slow and controlled.
You will be easy.
When you're not a criminal mastermind, you have to play to your strengths. Being a silver-tongued
I think they
Casanova
would-
has its perks,
if
especially if
they-
the guard
If they want to get you, they're gonna get you.
making eyes at you just happens to be holding the keys to the only barrier between you and freedom. These guys calmly opened the gate and casually strolled out of the jail with no urgency at all, without a care in the world. There aren't many scenarios where a prison guard and an escaped con can live happily ever after. She's seen
How do
running
you
her
feel?
hands through her hair and looking totally stressed out, rethinking her life choices. The following day, she's arrested, and the three guys on the run are apprehended 5 days later after a tense siege with police. Stick to what you're good at, guys. Breaking hearts, not breaking out of jail.
A camera in the alley outside captured the men dressed in all white casually walking away.
Van hit and run. If something's too good to be true, it generally is. A group of prisoners were being escorted through the garage on their way back to their cells. One is seen lingering, and soon after walks behind a
Yeah,
transport
look at him being
van
slick. Look at him
out
being
of
slick.
sight, with the guards going ahead and not noticing he's missing. All that's left for him to do is open the door, turn the key that's so conveniently sitting in the ignition, and start the van. It's like the stars have aligned and the universe
that
is
boy is
almost begging him
smart,
to take his chances for freedom. He floors the van, smashing through the garage door, and is free and clear. Or so he thought. He crashed into some trees nearby and was arrested. Most people steal a car and then get sent to jail, not the other way around. Handcuffs. Even dumb criminals get lucky breaks eventually. After being arrested at a motel for theft, this woman found her way into a police holding cell. She was left alone with her phone to try to arrange bail money and a life home. She struggles to break free of the cuffs anchoring her to the wall in between checking text messages. Even though police say the cuffs were on its tightest setting, she was able to wriggle her dainty hands free. She took the keys
Bro, that must have hurt, bro.
off a hook
That-
on the wall and used
that
them
was
to
so
open an
tight,
emergency
man.
exit to
I'm
quietly
sure she-
slip out the
she
back door
coulda
while
had
no
to
one
wait.
was watching. She was busted an hour later when she returned to the same hotel where she was arrested that morning, instantly recognized by
So she gets caught in a hotel or a motel because of theft, and then after she breaks out of prison and runs away, she gets back to that hotel. Okay.
the staff
Oh, you
who
deserve
worked
life.
there. Bulldozer attack. Denmark is famous for Vikings and Lego bricks, but mass prison escapes? Not so much. 25 years ago, a TV film crew received an anonymous tip about a protest outside of a prison in Copenhagen and went there to document the event. What happened next was a bulldozer slamming into the brick wall of the jail and knocking it down, with prisoners running out of the hole like ants
Ooh,
fleeing
look
from
at
their
'em.
nest.
Look at 'em
They could be
running.
seen running down the street
Ooh,
laughing,
bro, they're so
cheering,
happy.
celebrating their newfound freedom. The film crew were arrested on suspicion of having prior knowledge of the escape and failing to notify
Yeah.
police. 13 inmates escaped in total, some with lengthy jail terms for violent crimes and
Sent to
murder, with
prison for
only
conspiracy.
3 ever being caught.
Oh, so only
with
three.
only 3 ever
caught?
being caught.
Damn. So the other 4 just escaped. Okay, so that means what I said at the beginning of the
Detailed
video, that
instructions.
prisoners
are
usually
designed to
get caught
keep
as
inmates in, not to
true.
give them easy ways to get out. After all, the key to success is executing a carefully detailed plan. Typically, you would think that installing air vents large enough for a man to squeeze through close to the floor would be a bad idea in a prison, but this was exactly how this trio gained access into the plumbing shafts behind the
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where
I don't
you
want your freedom.
wall. They used ropes made out of bed sheets and had a getaway van waiting with fresh clothes and a bottle of Jack Daniels for a celebratory drink. It only
Okay,
took 8 minutes
So,
for
okay, I know that they escaped prison and they got a plan, but how did they get the getaway car?
3 inmates to complete their complex plan, ironically using a cell phone to film their escape from their cell. These guys traded 15 minutes of fame for an extra 15 years behind bars.
Damn.
Daring escape. They say that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it.
That's
Arrested
stupid.
at school for
That's
fighting,
stupid,
this
bro.
teenager was left alone in an interrogation room for only 10
Yeah, I
seconds
seen this
before he
video.
threw
It's the guy that jumped out of
caution to
window.
the wind and fearlessly jumped out of a 16-foot-high second-story window. He may just have rubber bones, as he got straight back up after surviving the fall and got
No,
out of
that's
there
not
as
rubber
fast
bones.
as his
That's-
legs could carry
that's-
him. The cop comes to
that's
check
your,
on him 14 minutes later.
blood
You can
pumping and
clearly hear him
everything, your
saying a few
adrenaline rush.
choice words when he
don't
realizes
feel
what's
nothing.
happened. The boy was
But
found
after you cool down, bro, you're gonna feel a lot of
3
pain.
hours later at his friend's house. We can safely say that when he turns 21, the only bars he'll be attending will be made of iron.
Not true.
Through the window. The mind is a powerful thing. All you have to do is believe in yourself and commit. This inmate had a pretty simple plan. He was being processed in a detention center. One of his buddies would distract the guard while he made his getaway. When he saw an extremely small window, he thought think thin over and over in his head before taking a running leap, diving through the window. Once outside, he got into the getaway car his girlfriend was waiting in, and they were off like a modern-day Bonnie and Clyde.
Somebody-
26
somebody
days later,
hold
they were
Grandpa,
discovered
bro.
living in an abandoned
Somebody
house in
hold
the next
Grandpa.
state after an anonymous tip-off. The warden said he's taking extra steps and putting locking mechanisms on the window, which should have been
That's
a
all dude,
no-brainer in a
right?
prison. Psst, hey, you still there?
Thought
Well, since you
I
made
don't
it
know,
this
I-
far,
I
here
saw a
are all the
picture of him
shout-outs we promised everyone
putting
that
an
commented
old
on our
guy.
previous video. If you want to be shouted out in our next upcoming video as well as the ones prior, just make sure you're subscribed to the channel and leave a
Will
comment down
do.
below saying, "Pick me." Once you're at it, you might
Pick
as well leave a
me.
like too.
Hey, bro.
Criminals have
This
been
one-
trying to escape
Okay, this is my first time knowing that like not my first. I'm sure I heard, but I don't remember. But I didn't know that prisoners successfully ran out of prison and they continued on with their life. I'm sure in the U.S. nobody have done it, because if you're telling me that in the U.S. someone got out of prison and just like lived on under the lights, nobody knew about him. That's impossible in the US, bro. Because even if you do, you're gonna get tracked in all sorts of way, and people gonna start looking for you and gonna start being television, and life is gonna be so hard. You're not gonna be able to do nothing unless, I don't know, you make a plastic surgery or something to change something in your face. Maybe then you could change your identity. I don't know, but other than that, it's
Escape
too hard.
prison.
And even that, who's gonna do the surgery? I don't know, bro. In the US, it's so hard. I think if you run out of prison, it's just a matter of time for you to be caught again. And yep.